Hello everybody! I'm showing my face today. So if you're wondering why I said that, I'm so excited to announce that I'll be more active on my YouTube channel from now on. So for every future podcast episode, there will also be a video version of it, which will be up on my YouTube. So if you prefer to watch a video, watch me talking to you on a camera, I'm making sure my eye contact is on the camera, then you can hit YouTube. The link is in my bio. There's a Linktree link and you can find my YouTube link there as well as other pages like my Instagram or and my podcast. So my podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and it's called Back to Love with Christine. I know, it's so intimate, yeah. Of course, if you are new here and if you like what I share, you want to support me, feel free to subscribe to my channel or follow my podcast too, and give me a support and like and your feedback whenever you wish. Okay, I'm done promoting, guys. I'm just so excited. So if you're wondering why my eyes go down from time to time, it's because I have my notes with me. I have structured what I want to share today, and to make sure that you bring home with so much value before you finish this episode. So I have a surprise at the end of the episode. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, if you're hearing some crunchy sound in the background, that will be my cat eating his snacks at a corner somewhere. So oh yeah, guys, I'm also excited that I have a new podcast cover. Even my YouTube has a new cover as well, new photo. I'm loving all the pinks. I'm all about the Barbie core stuff right now. And yes, I really look forward to the movie. And no, it's not because of Barbie that I love pink. It's long story short, he dropped his plate. Anyway, he's fine. Anyway, so pink is my childhood color, my favorite color since I was a little girl. And it's strange, I want to share this. So when I was a little girl, I loved pink. Eventually, as I grew older, it changed so much throughout the years, like from blue to most of the time it was black, up until my teenager years and college years, young adult days, early 20s, and of course red as well for a long time, more than a decade I suppose. But right now, the more I do the inner work, the more I learn to love myself, the more I level up, the more I connect with my inner child and connect to my feminine energy, my playful side, I realized that I fell in love with pink again. And around late last year, I think it was maybe September. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, there was a distraction. So what I was saying, I was sharing about my favorite color since childhood until now, right? So the more that I connect with my inner child, inner work, and all those things, the more I came back to my truest, my most authentic expression of myself at my core. And pink really makes me feel really good. And I've also been told by someone I know that my aura is pink color. And that really resonated so much, even though I can't see auras at this time. But he told me that my aura is pink, and ever since then, it felt like something activated in me. And from then onwards, I'm all pink, baby. And I think last year, September, before my best friend's wedding, I went to completely colored my hair pink, and from then onwards it's been pink ever since. Even now, I mean, it looks dark purple-ish, fuchsia-ish, but under bright light, sunlight especially, it's a really nice shade of hot pink. Okay, enough of that. So another thing I want to share lately for me is that I'm into Threads app right now. If you've been on social media, you might stumble upon this app called Threads. It's by Instagram, and it's like similar to Twitter, but also not Twitter. It's so nice. I love exploring new apps like that, and what I love about Threads is that whatever downloads that I got in a moment that I feel like sharing, I can just share it. I don't need to create a graphic to post on Instagram. I don't need to create a story. You know, it's quick and it's fast, and I love that it's so easy to share on my Instagram or on the feed if I need to, because there's the direct function to do it. And if you're on Threads, it's the same handle as my Instagram at Christine Ong. I'll see you there if you are. If not, it's okay. I'll still stick to Instagram. I love Instagram, and I'm now exploring YouTube. I'm still getting the hang of things here, and who knows, I might even get into live stream someday, post more often. And if you're wondering about TikTok, I'm still kind of in and out from there, but we shall see, right? Okay. So, fear of judgment. Such a big topic. I believe that no humans on earth are excluded from this. And whatever we came here to do on earth, and we're always here to learn a lesson. So one of the biggest things that humanity, I think, is here to learn is overcoming the fear of judgment, learning to live with it and build resiliency. So today's topic is about fear of judgment and how to reframe it. So keep in mind that this is based on my own journey, my own experience, what I've learned, and how to reframe it. I use these methods of reframing over and over again in my life for a few years now, and I truly believe in it. And so the structure of this sharing today is, the first thing is, what do I think of fear of judgment? Just a little bit of intro, and how can fear of judgment show up in our lives? There's two ways, and how it affects in your reality unconsciously. And of course, I'll give you some examples of my own personal experience so that, you know, examples can help people to relate, right? So I believe that it will help you in some way. And lastly, the fourth part is how to reframe it and examples. So use your discernment for sure. Everyone's journey is different, and I truly believe that, you know, with anything that you digest online, whether it's books, articles from other people, you will also get your own breakthrough just by listening, being present with what the other person has to say or share. You have your own downloads as well. So pay attention to that as well. Don't just listen to me blind. I mean, you can, but also see how you can apply certain information in your life that could help you get to the next level, or so they say. My cat is distracting me, but I'm not gonna care. He'll cool down soon, no worries. Okay, so my thoughts on fear of judgment. First of all, what I wrote here is absolutely normal. just a bit of caveat, is that the word, that even though it's normal, but you don't have to make it so normal that it holds you back from anything in life. Just know that you are not alone when it comes to fear of judgment. Everyone has that at certain level. It's very, very, very common thing for humans to go through. So it's nothing to be afraid of as well. And I feel like fear of judgment is everywhere. Fear is everywhere, and it affects us in a lot of things in our lives. It affects how we show up in the world. It affects how we show up in our relationships. It affects how we show up authentically or not. Sometimes due to intense fear, we can put on a mask and show the world that this is us, but in fact it's not. So I'll do my best to share what I know, my experiences and how to reframe it. And the thing is, the goal is to not completely eradicate this fear, but to nullify it, to create that blanket for you to rest on, for you to feel safe, to wrap yourself around with when you are being faced by this fear. Because we will always have fear at any point in our lives. It's just a matter of how we deal with it, we manage it through emotional intelligence, through mindset shifts, through just seeing things from a bigger picture and different perspective. It's not always about the judgment itself at face value. It's beyond that. So the origin of fear, well, I'll just quickly share the origin. I think a lot of us know where this comes from, but I'll just quickly share it. So fear comes from societal conditioning. Media, of course, when media shares a lot about achievements, about certain news or information. Something just dropped there, but it's okay. It can be from childhood traumas and wounds, and a lot of times you'll be surprised that if you believe in past life, so even fear can come from past lives, unhealed past life traumas. So it can also come from self-inflicted fear, when we are so exposed to judgment a lot of times in our lives that we get this story in our heads that we are meant to be judged. It goes really deep, but this is what I think where fear comes from. He's distracting me. It's okay. So we all know what fear of judgment is, right? Scared of speaking out truth and scared of saying things like no or yes. But I want to go deep on this topic today as much as I can. Whatever download that come in the middle, or suddenly it just come through me, it might just be super random, but know that if I do that, it's an intuitive download, and I'm being guided to share in the moment. So I will share about how will this fear show up unconsciously in our lives. Unconsciously means when you're not aware that it shows up, but it's there. Which is Osho, which is also an opportunity to do shadow work. More on that later. So basically, shadow work is bringing your unconscious unconscious stuff like fear, stories, whatever, up to the surface to uncover parts of you that have been suppressed and hidden for a long time. That's why it's called the shadow. It's not supposed to be seen or known until it's being brought up, until you get triggered and it shows up, and if you really bring yourself to face it, feel it, acknowledge it, that's how you heal it. But that's the gist of it. So judgment can show in two ways. So the first way is external. External is the most obvious one because judgment can come from other people. It can come from comments, things on social media, comparison from, I don't know, social media, or maybe your friends are comparing you, maybe your parents are comparing you with other person. It can come from societal expectations, cultural expectations, some even probably religion. I don't want to go into that for now, but it's all external, outside of us. The other way that I want to dive deep into is the internal. Internal. So you may be wondering, how does internal judgment show up? If you know this concept of inner critic, that inner mean voice, that self-projected blame, negative self-talk, those are the internal way that judgment can show up inside of you. From our ego, some maybe call it inner critic, and sometimes if you notice it a bit more, it can also come from, let me see how to rephrase it, a reaction from circumstances that happen externally. So when something happens to us externally, our internal judgment will come up. Like, oh, you're so stupid, you see, you can't even solve such a simple problem, those kind of things, right? So those are two ways that I could think of, that how can judgment show up. If you can relate to it, you let me know anytime if you want to share. So I'm looking at my notes. Right, so how can this fear of judgment show up in your reality? Whether it's external or internal. So some of the most popular, and not say popular, but frequently seen and experienced ways is that you have poor boundaries. So poor boundaries, like saying yes when you mean no, or saying no when you mean yes. It can also be when you are people pleasing, because you're afraid of speaking your truth, so you'd rather just pleasing others so that you won't get judged. For example, I remember a lot of times where I was invited for something, or even invited into relationships where my body was showing me, I felt like my whole body was screaming at me no, but I said the other way around. I was saying no with my body, but my mouth says yes. So I remember one of it is a relationship, but it taught me a real lesson. So about fear of judgment, or fear of saying no, because if I how does self-judgment looks like, right? If I say no to a relationship, how does the judgment appear? So it can appear as, if you reject this person as your boyfriend, then you never ever find this kind of guy again. Then you never ever have this kind of relationship again, and no one will ever invite you to be their lover anymore. That internal critic that will just tell you, if you let this go now, you never get this chance again. Does that ring a bell? So if you say no to your best friend, what would they think of you? Those kind of things, those kind of situations, the internal judgment can come up as well. And another example I can think of is, if you say no to your mother, other people will say you're such a bad daughter. Oh, she's such a bad daughter. She doesn't help her mom. She doesn't listen to her mom. Like, oh, that is part of a societal and cultural conditioning. If you're a Chinese like me, probably you can relate in some ways, because in older traditional Chinese families where it's often really popularized, where the kids always listen to what the parents say. You should go for this kind of career, like doctor, lawyer, whatever that pays well, and this kind of thing. So I was there when I first entered college. My mom wanted me to go for nursing because it pays well, it's stable, it's high in demand. I did not want to go for that. Never. Part of me that time, I was afraid that I'll be abandoned. I'll get judged by my parents, by my aunties and uncles, like if I don't get a job, I'm useless. I am, all the fear were just coming up. And if I say no, I would probably risk something. If I say yes, then what will other people think of me? What if I really couldn't find any job once I graduate? Those kind of things. So it can appear like that. And of course, the other way that fear of judgment can show up in your reality is by playing small. I'm having backache right now. Maybe that's not the best posture. It's okay. Playing small can look and sound like not voicing my truth when I need help. So my cat wanted to go out. I'm back here. Okay, so playing small. Not voicing my truth when I need something, when I need help, when I need support, when I need someone to listen. So I am notorious for that. I'm notorious for not asking for help when I need it. And I know where it came from. It came from my childhood, where if I voice out too much, if I keep on voicing out or asking or sharing, it means I'm doing the wrong thing. It means I'm bothering people. It means I'm a nuisance. I don't know how to pronounce it. It means I am being a troublemaker or something. So growing up, I've always held that unconscious belief that I should just handle everything myself. And this really has impacted me as an adult, and it has affected a lot of things in my life, like relationships, my work life, a lot of things. And by playing small, it keeps me safe. By playing small, it keeps me safe. I'll talk more about this safety thing later. So another thing about playing safe is that you don't do your best, you don't get out of your comfort zone because you're afraid of judgment. I'm pretty sure you can relate to this. Anyone can relate to this. Playing small in a way that You don't step up, you don't wise up, you dare not step up for yourself, because if you feel like you did, you will be faced with uncomfortable situations. You might get judged, you might get criticized, you might get abandoned even, you know. It's a way of our minds keeping us safe and our body reacting to unsafe situations, so that we will be away from danger, aka judgment. So fear of judgment can also appear when you put others on a pedestal. This is really big. This can happen in relationships like mine, where I used to put my partner on a pedestal. Like everything they need, or everything they say, I agree, and I meet their needs. I didn't realize it back then that I held this unconscious fear of judgment. I did not realize that at the time, but it's okay. I learned my lesson. It is good. It's like I was saying yes when I meant no. And my partner at the time, no longer in my life, of course, to me, he felt like a savior for me. A savior, someone who truly felt like an important figure for me. And long story short, I felt like, the unconscious feeling, I felt like I needed to show up as the perfect partner, always saying yes, just so the relationship can stay. This can also happen when you put projects in your life on a pedestal over your well-being, over your truth, over your well-being. So one example for a recent event in my life is related to my work. So if you know me in real life, you know that I'm a product designer in Mind Valley, and recently we were working on a new project and things were really so stressful, and I was on survival the whole time, and for about 2-3 weeks. And I remember at one point where I was juggling, like, between asking for help and trying to do everything myself. So at the same time, I held the expectations that, I need to do the best work, I need to do the best thing because this is for the company, this is for, I wanted to do good work. But at the time, I realized that I was putting this project on a pedestal over my well-being, over what I can already achieve, over like my best was at 30% at the time. I was trying to push it to probably 80, but I know I couldn't. So what I mean by putting this project on a pedestal, so putting something or someone on a pedestal means putting the importance of that person or thing above yourself, above your well-being, above you, basically. But of course, no matter what it is in life, you yourself are the most important, right? We all know that. You're the most important. Remember that. So I overcame it by letting go of control, letting go of trying to be perfect, and speak my truth. speak my truth, and I did it. It was so hard, but I did it, and I'm glad I did it because it helps me. It also helps others. So that's one. Yes, how fear of judgment can appear in your reality is not asking for what you need or want. I believe I touched point on this earlier on. I do have an example right now about what happened in my childhood that still affect me till this day occasionally. So, I grew up with Barbie in my childhood. I love Barbie, and I remember always bugging my parents to get me new Barbie dolls, Barbie homes, clothes, and everything when I was little. Not just Barbie stuff, actually. It's a lot of other things. As a child, you love toys, you love things, new things. And I always bug my parents to get me new things. That's one of my ways of getting attention and love. But anyways, so of course I was always rejected, like no, and I took that as a child, I took that as voicing my truth is wrong. Voicing my truth only leads to judgment, leads to rejection, because judgment can also mean rejection. In a way, it's like judgment also. Yeah, so I've been told that since young, and of course it registered into my subconscious mind and grew up. Whenever, how it affects my life is that whenever I try to get something for myself, it can be as simple as getting a cup of coffee or buy a new bag for myself. Nowadays, it's more towards the bigger investment things, but it appeared as, whenever I try to get something for myself, that judgment will just appear inside my head and say, are you sure you're gonna buy that? You're gonna waste money, you're not gonna use it, you're not gonna do this, do that. If you do this, you're ruining your life. You do this, you'll be poor forever. You do. So that, you see how it affects in your life, and how it show up in your reality. So if you can relate to this, I hope that it helps you in any way, and we will be going into how to reframe it in a bit. So one last thing that I want to share about how fear of judgment can look like or sound like in your life is something that we all go through, is the self-criticism, self-blaming, negative self-talk. When you make a mistake, you'll be like, oh, why am I so stupid? Why am I making mistakes again? Why am I procrastinating? I always do the same shitty things. I'm not good at this. Why am I scrolling on social media again? Why am I being so lazy? All those things that repeat in our heads, it is also a form of judgment. We are already judging ourselves most of the time before others can judge us. So the other day on Instagram, on Threads as well, I shared a post that talks about judgment. So I'm just gonna pull it up in my Instagram, one of my latest posts on Threads, this one. So I posted this. So think that you're being judged. In actuality, you are judging yourself first. Take a few steps back and think again. No one has the time to judge yourself all the time. No one has all the time and energy to judge people all the time. They unconsciously judge themselves so that they project judging onto others. This is really deep. Maybe it's difficult to see it right now, but let me try to put this into a picture for you. I'll do my best. So I was sharing about self-criticism, self-blame, right? The moments you do something that brings you to that self-blame, self-criticism, notice that you are judging yourself first. Another example, you look at yourself in the reflection. Oh, I'm so fat. Oh, I'm so ugly. You see how you're judging yourself first? And not everyone has that kind of energy all the time to judge you. So if you think people are judging you, they are the most judgmental person to themselves first. And by projecting the judging on you, it means they are also judging themselves. Whatever you put out there is a reflection of you. That's what I would say. I hope that clicks for you. Yeah, so if you notice that in yourself, what I would say is just be aware of it, catch yourself. And now we'll go on to the reframe part. It's my favorite. I hope that whatever methods that I share today, you don't have to do all, you don't have to force yourself to do all at this time. Take these methods with a grain of salt, use your discernment, and see how you can apply it into your daily life if you want to. So, how to reframe the fear of judgment. Okay. It's mostly about mindset shifts, perspective shifts. I hope you won't hear that. It's some vacuum stuff. So the first thing that I wrote here in my journal is reframe and see this judgment as an opportunity to learn more about yourself, about how you see the world. It's like a teacher for you to learn. It can be about having better, stronger boundaries in yourself. It can be a lesson of taking care of yourself better. It can be having more compassion for yourself, self-acceptance. And it can also be connecting with yourself more, connecting with your body more. So whenever you feel triggered that, someone or something has judged you or your inner critic judged you, whenever you catch that, quickly reframe it. Opportunity, okay, this is the opportunity for me to learn about myself. What is this teaching me about myself? I think that's a very powerful question. I want you to try and ask that yourself. Just prompt yourself, and you can journal it down if you want to. You can sit in a meditative state and ask yourself that, and don't hold on to trying to get answers immediately, because sometimes it will not appear right away, the answers, but be open to it. Let your body share with you when it's ready. So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is it's more like a mindset shift, perspective shift. So the thing is, all the judgments that are placed upon you, whether it's from external or internal, from other people or from your own head, most of them are stories that are not yours in the first place. They were given to you. Let that sink in. They were given to you at any time in your life. Most of the time it's from childhood, but it can also happen in teenage years, college years, young adult years. It can also be something you fed yourself in your past, or maybe past life. So know that the stories aren't yours in the first place, the judgment. And you can change that. You can change your story around that judgment. And you can choose not to subscribe to it. You can switch it whenever you catch yourself subscribing to that belief or judgment. So one of my example would be, I've been told since I was younger that I'm too wild. I just made a weird sound in my mouth. I'm sorry, that was weird, but that was so funny. Okay, anyway, I've been told that I'm too wild. By wild, I mean like my hair color, the way I dress. I'm too bright, too bold, too I don't know, loud, or I don't know what you call that. But I've been told I'm too wild since I was little, and I've been subscribed to that belief / judgment for a long time. And once I started the inner work 7-8 years ago, I started to see gradually that, right, this is not my story. This was given to me. This was given to me by my parents, my dad. But yeah, I don't have to subscribe to it. The real me is trying to come out. So the more you do your inner work, the more you unpeel layers of yourself that are not you, and so your real you will try to come out, right? So that's how I realized that, okay, this is not me, and I started to step more into my authentic self. I started really gradually. I'm not always this confident. I'm not always this pink. I'm not always this daring to show my face like that in public and social media. I'm not always like that. It happened gradually along the way as I do the inner work. So choose the stories that empower you, that feels true to you, instead of the ones that don't. How to know if the stories are not good for you? If it does not feel good to you. If it does not feel good to you, it usually means it's not yours. And take that as an opportunity to reframe it, to learn from it. It can be, oh, I realize I'm not authentic in this. I realize I'm not speaking my truth in this, and that's why the other person is treating me this way, because they don't know my truth. Because I don't speak my truth, they don't know what I really need. So I'm telling a new story for myself, that I'm a person who honors and respects my truth, and so I speak it. And if the other person does not respect me or accepts me when I'm in my truth, then so be it. It means they are not my people. They are not my person. The right person for me in my life, whether it's friendship or relationship, whatever, will meet me at where I am, which is my most authentic self. And I would say that is so liberating to know and realize, because once you embrace your authenticity, once you embrace the truth stories that feel good to you, feel good for you, you'll eventually change your life from the inside out. Your relationships will improve. Your career might change for the better. You might change to a better company. You might shift into a healthier relationship. Overall health will be better as well, and your inner world will start to feel gentler as well. My inner world used to feel chaotic and full of judgment and fear, to a point where it affected my health as a whole. But now I'm so much healthier. I feel like I'm reversing aging. A lot of people, I just made a weird sound in my mouth again. Like, stop. Maybe I'm judging myself, but it's okay. Okay, I just picked myself up from judgment. Okay, I'm just being me right now. Okay, so the third thing on how to reframe judgment is to understand that The purpose of our minds is to help us solve problems. It's always analyzing things. It's always thinking, how can we be safe? How can we stay safe? It is wired for survival. It wants to keep you safe, even if it means playing small and keeping yourself from speaking your truth. So I want you to know that this is not always a bad thing. And I don't want you to be afraid of your own mind, of your ego. Just know that too much of anything is not good. Same goes to positivity. Too much positivity can be toxic, and too much negativity can be toxic. So anything in life, if it's too much imbalance, like too much on this end, too much on the other end, is also not good, right? So yeah, our minds are wired for survival. Even if this means playing small, having poor boundaries because it fears change. When you try to change, when you try to change a certain habit that you've embodied for a long time, your mind will try to talk you out of it and probably even judge you for it. Like, why are you changing? You're so fickle-minded. You know, I get that all the time in my head. Yeah, and the thing is, I have another download. So the thing is, how to know if your ego is speaking or it is your intuition. So your ego will speak from your mind in here when you are too much in your head, analyzing, it never stops, right? When it's constantly analyzing, when it's constantly in survival mode. Wait, what was I talking about? Oh my god. Okay, so how to know if it's ego is that when you're too much in your head, and it comes from a place of fear. A place of fear feels like, for me, it feels like this intense knot in my gut and heaviness in my heart, and I feel like my whole body just contracts, and sometimes even hard to breathe, like shallow breaths and stuff. I will be stuck in my head and I'm not present when I'm too much in my head, and my ego is on the driver's seat, not myself. So the opposite of it, which is if it's your inner guidance, your intuition, your higher self is speaking through you, that voice is usually gentle, loving, unconditional. It may sound firm at times, but it holds compassion, love. It holds safe space for you. So that's the contrast that I hope you can see. You can tell where I'm coming from. So yes, example for this, when our minds are wired for survival, is that how to reframe it is that when you say no to your truth, then other people will accept you. So how to reframe that is just to understand that our minds are wired for survival, and you can take back your power instead of your ego driving in the driver's seat. So the fourth thing is to understand that what other people think is a projection of their own inner world, of who they are, not about you. I think this is like one of the most powerful things, mindset things, that has helped me so much in my life. And I really, really vouch for this, because when you can see that what other people think, judgmental things, is a projection of their world, and it's not about you, it's about them, you will be untouchable. So you gotta know that judgmental people, the most judgmental people are the most critical of themselves. Let that sink in. The most judgmental people are the most critical of themselves. Let that sink in really deep. Hurt people hurt people. When people are judging other people, they are the most hurt kind of person. They are hurt so that they are so hurt inside and so unhealed inside that they can't help but unconsciously judge others just to feel some sort of validation, just to feel good, and that feeds the ego. So this point is just about understanding that, whenever you are judged by someone or judged by your inner critic, just know that it reflects the inner state, the state of their inner world, not yours. So if this comes from your own inner critic, your own inner judgment, how to reframe that? I just made that sound again. What the hell? Maybe I need to drink some water. Hang on. Okay. How to reframe your inner judgment, right? I will go back to point number 2, where I talk about point number 2 and number 1. Actually, almost all points kind of relate to each other, but just know that when your inner judgment comes up, it's coming from a story that's been told. A story that's been told and embodied and for a long time. It's a pattern there. It's a pattern. And actually this is already the next point, the 5th point, which I'll come back to this. So your inner judgment is telling you something based on a story that was created in the past. It can be a childhood trauma, it can be something that you learn and told yourself as you grow up as a response to something that was unsafe. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back and I will go to the next reframe. I'm going to the next reframe point now. So, okay, whenever the fear of judgment comes up, and this is also a mindset shift. A lot of these are mindset stuff because I believe with the right mindset, it will lead you to a better direction in your life. It builds resilience, it builds wisdom, and teaches you how to, cope in life. So the next point is about, the stories that you tell yourself in your head. The stories that you tell yourself in your head, whether it's from a place of judgment or something else, is a form of pattern or habit that you can definitely change. See that as a possibility for you to change. It's a pattern. You're repeating the same pattern in your own world. So how does this show up, right? Example, so if let's say you are so used to telling yourself that, oh, I'm so stupid, why did I do that? Catch it. Instead of saying I'm stupid or whatever, or even I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb, you just say, shift it. Like, okay, I'm learning and I'm doing the best that I can. You see how that changes the energy? Yeah. So you can start from little shifts every single day. Whenever you catch yourself saying something judgmental, negative about yourself, just know that you can change it in that moment and reframe it. change that story for yourself. So little changes like this build up over time. You have to be really patient and compassionate for yourself, because it is part of the inner work. Being compassionate and being patient with yourself is part of the inner work. So another example I can give you, which comes from my own experience as well, I used to tell myself and judge myself that I'm such a bad spender. I'm such a huge spender. I'm so bad with controlling myself. I always feel bad about it. I always project shame and guilt on myself. So right now, I reframe it as, I am a lover of beautiful things, and that inspires my creativity. I can also reframe it in other ways, like, I noticed that I can improve with my finances, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to learn more about myself. So instead of judging myself, I reframe it to an opportunity to learn. Of course, it's true that I am a lover of beautiful things, and it inspires my creativity whenever I see things that are beautiful to me, like pretty pink stuff. It inspires me. So reframe it. You can write it down, journal, and see what works for you. But I really believe in this. Okay. So what I want to say also is that if we are so used to being judgmental, whether it's towards ourselves or others, why not change it to something more uplifting and empowering? If you're so used to telling yourself, "Oh, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm insecure, I am wounded, I'm always this negative," if you're so used to telling that to yourself, and if you really want to change your life, you gotta know that you can change it. Why not change to getting used to complimenting yourself? Why not getting used to being your biggest cheerleader? Why not getting used to empowering and supporting yourself? Because it's such a beautiful thing to be able to support yourself. And at the beginning, if you're new to this, if you're new to all this reframing stuff, at the beginning it might feel fake or unreal or uncomfortable or cringy, awkward. Just know this. You're changing a pattern, you're changing a habit, and changing any habit in life is uncomfortable at first. It requires conscious effort and conscious intention every single day to build that new habit. Any new habit. If you're so good at going to the gym every day, why not be so good at not being judgmental of yourself? Why not be so good at being your biggest cheerleader and whatnot, right? So just know that it builds up over time. This habit, this good new habit builds up over time. And tell yourself that I am the most confident woman or person in my life every day. I tell myself that I believe in myself. I am the luckiest person I know. I'm the wealthiest person I know, you know. It's also a lucky girl syndrome thing. I have an episode that talks about that in my podcast. In fact, it's everywhere on TikTok as well, and almost everywhere. You can just Google about lucky girl syndrome as well. It has changed my internal world. I'm so used to complimenting myself, whether it's my skills or appearance, and it has boosted my confidence. It has boosted a lot of things in my life, improved some relationships, little things in my life. It has my self-judgment has significantly dropped as well, because I'm so used to empowering myself now. So it feels really good, guys. So yeah, this is one of my favorite reframe examples. So another one, I know this is going a bit longer than I expected, but I wanted to make sure I have all the downloads come in and share with you. So another thing that I wanted to share is about this inner knowing and inner truth that says, I deserve respect. When the fear of judgment comes up, there's no respect, right? You're not respecting yourself or others are not respecting you, and so they're judging you, right? So own the fact that you deserve all the respect and love in the world. Own it, affirm to yourself. You need to paste it onto your mirror or your phone if you need to. Journal it if you need to, whatever that helps you to remember this about yourself. You deserve all the respect and love in the world, and so do others. You have to give it to yourself first. If you don't want other people to judge you, you gotta stop doing that to yourself. Okay? Now, another thing about reframing fear of judgment in itself can be also about negativity actually, is to challenge those comments of judgment. To challenge it. If someone tells you, or if your inner critic tells you something about yourself that is judgmental, challenge it. So let's say your inner critic tells you that I'm so fucking broke, I'm so damn broke, I'm so poor. Challenge it. Like, are you sure I'm broke? Why do you think so? Why do you think you're broke? For every answer that your inner critic gives you, your ego gives you, challenge it. Keep challenging it until there's no more answers to come. So the goal is to nullify, to silence that inner critic. And the more you challenge it, the more you'll see that it's actually pretty like, it's so untrue. I have so many things in my life. How am I broke? I have a paid job. I have a roof under my head, above my head, under my head. I have a bed to sleep on every day. I have a credit card, or I have cash. I have food on my table. There's so many things that can help you reframe this judgment, and to challenge it, in a way also being a bit skeptical about those judgments really goes a long way. And if other people tell you, oh, you're so ugly, or you're so stupid, or you're so unattractive, challenge it. Like, really? Are you sure? Which part do you think is unattractive? Why do you think so? Why do you believe that? Where did you learn that? The more you challenge it, the more fun it gets actually, and you'll see that it's pretty ridiculous. So, okay, another way to reframe fear of judgment is whenever you feel that judgment coming up, whether from yourself, your inner critic, or from other people, whenever you feel that resistance to do something that you wanted to do for a long time, whether it's showing up in public, showing up as yourself, speaking your truth, expressing your boundaries, feel it and do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I think this is a very famous quote, but feel the fear and do it anyway. Like right now, me putting myself in my outside of my comfort zone by recording a video of myself speaking, and eventually posting on YouTube. I used to have a much bigger inner judgment for this, but now it's getting smaller because of all these reframing practices I've done. So feel the fear and do it anyway, because by doing it anyway also means you trust yourself enough to build resilience to go through what you need to go through, because over that arch of fear, over the other side of fear, is the next phase in your life, is the next episode or chapter in your life. You know that you gotta do it, you know that you gotta say it, even though it scares the fish out of you. You feel it and you do it anyway, and I'm so proud of you. Compliment yourself. I'm so proud of myself for showing up for myself. I'm so grateful for myself for showing up even though it was scary. Hug yourself, hold yourself as you do that. Okay, last thing that I can think of is about safety. So the thing is, when we fear of judgment, is a way of our body telling us that, hey, it's not safe. It's not safe to do what you need to do, to express your truth, to show up, to do the next big thing. Is your body telling you, no, it's not safe, you get judged. You'll be faced with judgment. Your inner critic will come in and tell you you're doing all this wrong, you're supposed to do it properly, or you have a typo. It's your mind is wired for survival, right? It's trying to keep you safe. So what I usually do is that, aside from just feeling the fear and do it anyway, I would always reassure myself. One of my top love languages is words of affirmation. So I would tell myself that it is safe for me to show up. It is safe for me to express my truth. I am safe. I am here. I'm here. I'm grounded right now. There's no real danger here. It is safe for me to show up. I am safe to be myself. Create that safety in yourself. Sometimes I would hug myself, close my eyes and just hug myself, pet myself and reassure my inner child, my wounded sides, my wounded parts of me, and reassure them, hey, we are safe. I got you. I got your back. And that really helps me take the next step forward. And reframing judgment in itself is also about, even though you are scared of making mistakes, but you do it anyway. Fear of judgment is also fear of making mistakes. And we all know that mistakes or failure is a part of any journey. No such thing as a real failure or mistakes. It's just lesson learned, and it's part of every process. So that is all I wanted to share today. I hope it brought you a lot of value, and I hope that you got your own downloads as well. But let me know anytime on Instagram. I'm always there, or even on Threads if you're there. And I'm Christine Ong. Link is in the bio, or in the description if you're on YouTube. And I absolutely adore you. I love you so much. Thank you for all your support, and thank you for listening to me for so long. And before you go, I promise there is a cute little surprise that I hope it will resonate with you. Oh, before that, I have this thing in front of me. For podcast listeners, I'm actually holding this, I forgot what it's called. It's from the ocean. A friend gave it to me. So basically it looks like the Hanged Man in tarot. It looks like a T-shaped shell of some sort. Like chicken feet. Yes, chicken feet. It looks like chicken feet, the shape. So the message is here that if you're seeing this, if you're hearing this, It wants to tell you that whatever you're facing right now, if it's difficult, reframe it. Change your perspective of it. Change how you see this situation or that person or this judgment that you're facing. Change it, reframe it. Don't just see it at face value. Change it, whether it's 45 degrees, whether it's, the other way around, backside, whatever, or a zoomed in version of it. Change that perspective. So, okay, my surprise. Let me just drink my water. My throat is getting dry. I like to go slow with you guys. And I wanted to make sure that whatever I'm channeling and I'm sharing is going through. So sometimes the episode or video can get long, but I hope that it's okay. I mean, it's fine, right? If you resonate with me, then you will. So I wanted to pull some cards for the collective. So if you feel like tuning into this, you can continue. And if you don't, you can just end this video or episode, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Or see you on Instagram or Threads. Okay, so I want to pull some cards from the Rose Oracle. It's one of my favorite decks as of late, and also because I love roses in general. If you know me, I love roses, and it's a gift from my soul family, my friends. They're so lovely and so cute. Oh, so I was asking my guides how many cards should I pull. I have the deck in my hands right now, and I'm going to pull up to 3 cards. So I actually don't know how I'm gonna shuffle it in my flight everywhere, but let's see. Okay, collective messages. Maybe you can hear that the cards are shuffling. Okay. One card just flew out. Okay, so on the card it says the butt. Not B-U-T-T, it's B-U-D, the butt. And it says potential, promise is about to happen, keep going. So I'm seeing like pink hearts in this card, and 2 women kind of reflecting each other. So what I'm getting here is that see the potential in the things that you are going through right now. See the potential in yourself. And when you see the potential in whatever you're going through right now, it is a form of promise from your higher self that things are happening. Whatever you are dreaming of, your manifestations, is about to happen. It is a sign. This is a sign for you. So if you're seeing heart shapes, heart symbols, pink color, it's a sign for you. So keep going, don't give up, and know that whatever you're going through right now is leading you to where you are meant to be. So sometimes when things happen in our life in a way that does not meet our expectations, our ego's expectations usually, but in a way it's a blessing in disguise if you choose to see it. That's why it says here potential. Just keep going, do what you need to do to take care of yourself at this time, and trust in the process. So the next card I'm seeing is that, oh my god, I love it. Okay, so the next card I pulled out is, it says Sophia. Divine plan, wisdom, intelligence within, destiny. And in the illustration, it shows a really big rose in the galaxy. It's so beautiful. So what I'm seeing here is that it links to the first card. Is that right now what you're going through is all according to divine plan, not your plan, not your ego's plan. It's all divine plan and divine intervention. Everything that you're going through has wisdom in it, so it's up to you to look at the intelligence within that wisdom and see how you can utilize that in your life. Oh my god, I love this. And it's all part of the destiny. It's all part of your destiny. So last card. Oh, I love this. I resonate with this. So it says the fertile void. The fertile void. Inner winter, rest, patience, potency, secret beginnings. So the major sign here is that if you're feeling intense, low, tired, focus on self-care and rest. Go within your body and rest and be really patient with yourself. And I'm hearing that breathing exercises will really help at this time. It could be breath work, it could be some grounding breathing exercises. Focusing on your breath to get back into the present moment also helps. Trust in the potency of being patient. Oh my god, I love that download. Trust in the potency of patience and rest. Rest is productive too. So there's also secret beginnings, secret blessings in the wisdom of patience and rest. When your body is in deep rest, it's bound to nurture that inner wisdom. So when you rest, you allow it to come through you, and therefore all your creativity, your ideas will just come through you. So trust that. So that's all for today. I hope it resonated with you. Let me know whenever, because it keeps me going and inspires me so much to share more of all the things I've learned with you. So yeah, I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, my loves, and I wish you a happy Thursday. Love you.